My name's Sav and this is Run the Tapes. Today we're going to be walking through England vs Scotland at Twickenham in March of 2019. Specifically, we are going to be looking at the often intangible nature of momentum and the players that live and thrive on it and the few players that appear to operate outside of it. This video will be a two-parter. In every Run the Tapes video so far, I have pointed to a moment early within a game that has contributed towards the blueprint that eventually wins the game. In essence, every descriptive analysis has been alluding to the importance of momentum. England start with an initial bit of misdirection to score a very early try. Sinclair looks like he's going to take a one-out carry, but his soft hands roll the ball out the back. Farrell then gives the ball out the back again to Daly, and as Tuolangi takes up 100% of Nick Grigg's time and vision, England attack on the outside. The Scottish individual drift defence that follows makes the finish a lot harder than it could have been, but ultimately putting Slade and Noel in that much space is going to be very difficult to stop. As with the French young guns during their win over Scotland, we are seeing the group that came through the under-20 system together, linking up very fluidly. Farrell, Noel, Daly, Slade and Sinclair. This very open and free-playing style continues throughout the majority of the first half. Everything about this first half from England screamed fun and a form of dominance, but unlike what happened in Wales earlier in the day, there wasn't any structure or control on display. England's third try comes off the back of an unstable ruck. At this point they have all the momentum, and as a result the friendship groups such as Genge and Sinclair start to come to the forefront of their playstyle. This, as beautiful as it was to watch, is not actually control. As a fan of rugby, I would never want to stifle this prop-to-prop offloading magic. However, the nature of this try all stemmed from an unstable breakdown and an off-the-cuff offload. They are winning the contact area, and as a result, tries feel inevitable. But it comes across as very individual. This lack of control is easy to spot, even though England are well ahead on the scoreboard. Here, Scotland turn the ball over with Ali Price jumping on the ball that spills from an unstable ruck. The next few phases are probably the most important for Finn Russell and Scotland over the course of this game. Earlier on, Scotland had box kicked twice and May catches those over the head of Darcy Graham. Scotland reset on this particular turnover and instead tried to go wide around the English rush defence, hunting those edges. England cover well and only give up 1 or 2 yards, even though Scotland chose a very risky long ball. The problem Scotland are facing in these moments is their key distributor was playing as a link man rather than the decision or playmaker. On this fruitless play, Sam Johnson is the one that gives a long loopy pass out wide that was easily covered. In a game of small margins, this pass needed to be flatter and faster. Simply put, it needed to come from Finn Russell. The next phase faced a similar problem, in that momentum was completely halted and Russell is once again playing as a link rather than a playmaker. This means that Sam Johnson is tackled way behind the gain line. Scotland are then forced to kick to England, having been pushed back into their own 22. Daly collects the rush clearance, draws 2 players with some neat footwork, and with the freedom of a team 3 tries up, offloads out the back of his hand to Jack Noel, once again solidifying the under-20s connection. Ben Youngs doesn't quite finish this try off, but what we can see here is Scotland hunting to find those edges, and England's individual connections managing to pick them apart. England finally try to build a bit of structured play and work into the Scottish 22. The problem here is that Ben Youngs gets caught out as the English one-out runners are cut off by Ali Price's smart rush defence. This leads to a moment that once again encapsulates the English mentality at this point, with Slade completely reversing the play, spinning a good ball out to Farrell who shuffles it on to Noel. England lose yards and their forwards are having to run backwards to get into position. Although individually skills are being executed very well, as a team there isn't much to indicate a game plan, and although Scotland look very much down and out, on a second watch they do at least have a game plan that is being executed. Scotland finally put Finn Russell in a position to be a playmaker. Instead of Sam Johnson making the killer pass, it's their key man. The difference in respect to the gain line is massive. Sam Skinner making 10 yards this time instead of the 1 or 2 that we saw earlier. This momentum leads to England giving away a penalty, and Scotland earn their first set piece inside England's 22. The execution of this set piece goes very wrong, and England come away with the ball. They break away down the left with May and Daly, who are stopped, and Scotland turn the ball over. Now while the execution ended up going wrong, all the right parts were in place, and getting Russell in the right spot worked extremely well to put England under pressure. Straight after this, Scotland give away a penalty, and to add more fuel to the fire that England weren't shutting this game down or playing for control, Youngs takes a quick tap penalty. A handy mispass and a fantastically disrespectful offload from Slade leads to another off-the-cuff England try. This takes us to 3 out of 4 unstructured England tries, with it being 4 out of 5 if you include Ben Youngs' knock-on. England form a huddle straight after May's try, and looking back at this moment now, it would appear to be a turning point. England at this point have all the momentum but none of the control, and I believe that this huddle might have been an attempt to wrestle back control into the game. England continued to play some of the most unstructured off-the-cuff rugby that you might ever see. This proves to open the door to Scotland. As English forwards and backs swap roles and rucks become unstable, England appear to just about to be hanging on to the ball in this chaotic environment. However, a charge down by McInally shows they'd flown too close to the sun, and his old days of playing at back row come back to haunt the English somewhat. McInally's try reignited hope in this Scotland team, and Finn Russell has been put in the kind of mood where he'd double or bust, and doing that to Finn Russell is never smart. Join me in part 2 where we'll go through how the Scottish game plan adapted using everything they learned in the first half. Thanks for listening, this has been Sav, and if you want more Run the Tapes, please like, comment and subscribe.